So, the question for today, guys. What is a video game that should never be made? Now, Phil, as we're resting Spence's voice, lay it on me.
Well, Davey, I've been pondering this question ever since I saw it appear in the doc, literally 5 minutes before we pressed record on this episode. So you haven't really given me that much time to sort of put this game together. But the games that have sort of been floating around my little noggin have been riffs on the Guitar Hero games. So I was thinking going down the route of maybe Flute Master. You could have a flute and you could almost blow through the flute. You could connect that to your PlayStation. Sure, that would be a bit of fun. Or maybe even go down the triangle route. You could call it Triangle Bashers. Now that would be a cool sort of mini game to play, but I don't think it has a lot of longevity. And I think even one that's even more surface level is if you just had a gong and you called it Gong Boys and you just had to bash along a gong to the sounds. But setting that one aside, I've kind of come out with another idea. And when I first thought of this one, I thought, this is a banging idea. This is a great idea. And then the more I started to break it down, I thought, nah, this would just never work. So stick with me on this one, okay? So I'm going for the Night Out Simulator, okay? So I've broken down a night out into, I think, 5 parts, and each one I'm taking unique flavors from different games. A bit like Atomic Heart in the sense it just borrowed things from other games and just kind of mashed them together. I'm doing the same. That one didn't have much success, and I don't think my one will either, okay? So we're going to start off on my Night Out Simulator with choosing your clothing, okay? And there's been a lot of talk on Twitter these days about Baldur's Gate, hasn't there? About the character generation tools there, where you can switch off their clothing. Now, I would definitely want that included in my Night Out Simulator, so you can see what you look like from the skin up. You could put on your Calvin Kleins, you could put on your Stone Island jumper, and you could get out with the boys. The next one down is the pre-drinks, okay? So this one's a bit more of a motion simulator. You got your old PlayStation moves, and this is about knocking back a couple of drinks as fast as you can, okay? So that's number 2.
Okay.
Third is your pub activities. Now I'm talking pool, I'm talking darts, I'm maybe even talking a little bit of bowling. So think Wii Sports, but in a pub, okay? And by that time, you've had a couple of pre-drinks, so the screen's starting to get a little wavy on you. Right, now we're at number 5. We're going to the club, and we're talking Dance Dance Revolution. I want to see your best moves in the club. So you're dancing around to impress those girls, and that's your end task. It's the 6 a.m. girls when the game closes, okay? And we're taking it back to the 80s, okay? So this was a little game that I found on the PC. It's called Get That Girl, okay? And you want to Google this game. It's a PC simulator of chatting up a girl. And the better you do with chatting up the girl, the more of the girl you get to see. And I was playing that at underage. And that was probably my first glimpse of a girl in a bikini when I was a young nipper. And I think that's what we need to introduce the generation of today into with my Night Out Simulator. Now, I feel like great ideas individually, but mash them all together, a la Atomic Heart, and I think I've got a mess here, haven't I, boys?
I gotta say, with you pitching this, I'm in on this. I think, Joe, I was in 2 of your ideas so far. I think you've accidentally sold me on. The first, you were saying about Flute Master, right? Take it down a step below that, Recorder Master. My son is now going into like year 1 of school. Recorders will be my new hell for the rest of, like, for years now. I'm gonna have this random recorder knocking about where he's playing like Bar, Black Sheep or whatever, and I've got to bear with that. If I could have a game teach him that, oh my God, suddenly, maybe he can wear headphones. I don't have to hear the recorder. This is like a dream come true, this game.
Well, you really want to start off at level 1, don't you, with the penny whistle? Before you step up to the recorder, mate. And then it's onto the flute. And then possibly, what do you have after a flute? Maybe an oboe? I don't know.
Ocarina Master. Yeah. So I know that's not the objective, is for you to sell it. But when it comes to your main one, the Night Out Simulator, right? I think I love the premise. But I think what you're saying in terms of juggling all these different gaming things that it has to do, it's going to do them all half-assed at best, isn't it? And, and especially where the screen is fucked. So it's like motion blurs on by like 500%. It's going to be pretty much unplayable. You know, like speaking to someone when when they're trashed and you're sober is like the worst. It's like another level of hell entirely. It's that in a video game form. So I think you might have nailed it on that one. That would be awful to play.
Well, PlayStation are always trying to up their levels of immersion, and I'm just going one step further with this. You're talking about the screen blur, aren't you, with this? So this is just going to throw you off. The first one might be a bit of fun. Hoo, you get to see someone in their pants. But when you get down to that 6 a.m. girl and you're trying to read the text to chat up that girl, I think it'd be impossible. So I think most people probably will give this game a miss. How about you, Spence? Would you be playing the Night Out Simulator or one of my Guitar Hero riffs?
I can't believe you boys glossed over Gong Boys. Gong Boys is such a fantastic name for a game. I thought that sounds like a bit of me 100%. But the Night Out Simulator, there's actually already a game quite similar on Steam called House Party Simulator, where the entire game is just you get dressed, go to a house party, and just chat up birds. And that is it. I think it's got like a learning AI in there. So each conversation's different. But it was actually quite big on Twitch and stuff a little while ago. But then this game you're proposing just has so much more. I think it sounds like a sick idea with the DDR, the Wii Motion Sports, the PlayStation Move, chucking the pints back. And I think if the screen's getting too blurry, you've got this Baldur's Gate option selecting you've taken. Just go have a Taki Chunda. You can recover in this game. You could go scran some food, try and repair yourself.
That's the DLC, Spence. That's when you go to the kebab shop. That's the DLC for this. And that'll let you recover at any time you want.
Yeah, I think I'd buy that game. I think that game sounds great. Honestly, easy. And then obviously the ultimate goal, the platinum trophy would be bag a bird that isn't a 6 a.m. bird. That would just be it. And that's what you're playing towards.
And you've got to be wankered as well. You've got to be completely wankered and somehow pull it off and have the charm for it. I think there should also be a trophy in this game for when you don't pull and you're walking in with your mates and you just be like, there's too many men in there. Just not enough gamers there, lads. They're just trying to make excuses, the classic excuse. That should definitely be in their trophy. Too many men. Yeah, really enjoy that idea. I think you've accidentally sold it to us. The game that shouldn't be made probably should be made. So well done for that. Spence, what about yourself? What are you thinking? What comes to mind?
Sure, right. Well, Phil, you've gone for the hypothetical. You've created a video game. I'm saying games that shouldn't have been made, lads. One word. Exoprimal. I'll dig on that game till I die.
Here we go.
What is the point? Capcom, you've been on such a hot streak for years. And you thought, boys, listen, we had a meeting. Everyone in the meeting room. All right, how do we fuck it? And then someone pitched Exoprimal and they went, yes. Yes. What else can we do? Launch Game Pass, day one. Oh, lovely. What else? Oh, battle passes. DLC. Cosmetics. Gameplay? Nah. Let's just, you ever played Overwatch? Yeah, we'll just take that. There we go. And dinosaurs. Yes, boys. Exoprimal. Just don't. It's not as fun a pitch as yours, Phil, but it's one that I truly believe it should never have been made. Ruined my day when they announced that, and I've thought about it ever since. So yeah, that's where I stand.
Well, Spence, I've got something that might actually change your mind about Exoprimal. I know this isn't the quick news section of the show, but I'm going to bring you a little snippet of news, because I've been doing quite a lot of reading this week on Twitter. Yeah, work's dead. But they've been saying now that Exoprimal could get Dino Crisis content if there's enough demand. Now, is that just a carrot on the stick to get more people playing it? I don't know, because I think there's a lot more Dino Crisis fans out there than Exoprimal fans. Would Dino Crisis bring you into the game, Spence? Would you try it if there was Dino Crisis in there?
Not a chance. No.
Not even Dino Crisis.
Nothing, mate. They could say that they'll get Regina herself to come home and nosh me off if I play Exoprimal, and I'll say nah. Well, I'd probably check out download, but I'd try my best not to boot it. But it's a weak man. That's the way it goes. But I don't think they could add literally anything other than mechanics. Any sort of DLC, they could add Street Fighter, they could add Resident Evil, they could add Devil May Cry, which they should, and they probably will. They've already added a Ryu skin as a robot for some reason. And they showed it off when they announced that. They showed it as a Street Fighter 6 trailer. It opened the Street Fighter 6, and then just went into Exo Primal. I was furious. I was absolutely furious. But they could add literally everything. I would not. Unless they literally changed how the game works. I'm not getting into that. I'd piss myself off.
I think if they did actually have some Dino Crisis content in there, I find it a little bit insulting now at this point, you know? Like, we all thought originally it was going to be some kind of crossover with Dino Crisis, and they've just steered clear of it. So now putting it in afterwards when no one's playing the fucking game and it's dead, it just seems like desperation tactics, and it's too much for me. If they came out immediately and said, oh, this is a new Dino Crisis, it wouldn't be what I want, but it wouldn't be a million miles off from what the series turned into, right? It turned into a pretty chaotic mess, really, of a franchise. So, yeah, they had their chance, and, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So, no chance for me. No way. Wouldn't bring me back. But I like the pick, Spence. I like putting in Extra Prime. I was thinking about answering this with Dreams being mine. So you kind of taken the thunder on that one, so well done. I've got 2 different games for you guys. I got one, which definitely should never be made. I think we can all be in agreement on that. And then one that I could see being made when the well runs dry. Okay? So the first, Nonce Wars. So all that is, it's like back in the day in the 90s.
Why'd you always go here? You always go here. Your mind, man. Wash your mind out with soap.
That didn't come out well, did it? That didn't come out. You got the Nonce Wars on the brain now.
I had the idea. The words failed me.
They did. They let you down. So I was thinking about back in like the early 2000s, we had loads of games that were based off like Celebrity Deathmatch, right? And so you had like all these different people fighting together, and then you had like the rap-in fighting game, didn't you? Like Def Jam, Fight for New York, and all that stuff. I'm thinking, is that kind of style? They're in an octagon, so you're fighting there like MMA style rules, but you're fighting Rolf Harris against Ian Watkins, you know, and it's just that's all you got. And then DLC maybe down the line, or year 1 content, Gary Glitter comes in, and you got like their entrance music. So Rolf Harris, you got Animal Hospital he walks out to, you got like, you know, all that stuff, and that should never be made in a million years. I think we can all be in agreement on that. That kind of thing definitely should not be made. You know, the reward for if you win the title, maybe you bag a 12-year-old Filipino bird. I don't know, right? Just put in, these are things that shouldn't happen. You know, don't shoot the messenger here. Shouldn't happen. But the game taking it onto something else that definitely shouldn't be made. Simulators are all the joy at the moment, aren't they? You know, you see they've got Lawn Mowing Simulator coming out this month on PlayStation Extra. There's simulators for, you know, power cleaning. For everything you can think of, there's a simulator. Tell you what, there isn't a simulator for, Deathbed Simulator, where you literally lie there, you play as the guy dying on your deathbed, and you sit and look at the ceiling fan while a nurse comes in and brings you your lunch to eat, and you just tick down the time. No family visits you. There's nothing to do, and all you have to do is press one button, which is breathe, and you just play until you can't breathe anymore. And that's it. And that's the game.
Well, I can talk you into playing this one. I was, again, scrolling through Twitter, and a meme that popped up, and I've seen it a couple of times, was a guy tweeting about his father on the deathbed, and he said that he brought a stripper in for his father, and I think he signed off the tweet with, maybe I made your cock move one more time, or something like this. So I think if you had that as an element within your game, possibly, you know, if I'm on my deathbed, what do I want? Cocktails, I want my last meal, or my steak dinner. Let's round it out with strippers. Why not?
I'm thinking this is going to be one of those games where you're like kind of fucked, you know? Like you're proper dead. It's like the last couple of days where everyone's like, not long left now. You know, where all the family are like, yeah, I don't really want to go in anymore because he's really looking bad now, you know? Like he's all sunken, he's proper white and all that. And so no one goes in. So you're just literally there and you can't move. All you do is breathe. So it's kind of like My Name is Mayo, but for breathing. But it's about how long you can kind of keep going. And then maybe after so long, they just give the mechanical like air to you, right? And you're on that machine that breathes for you. And then at that point, you can't do anything but sit and wait to die. And that's the game. And you just sit there. And you're just waiting for credits to roll. And you might be there for days. You might even be there for a month. It might be you going on for a lot longer than they thought. But who knows? Is it a game that lasts 10 minutes? Or is it a game that lasts you 2 years? Who knows? Time to get in there and earn that platinum trophy, baby. Deathbed Simulator.
Bloody hell.
Mate, I'm sure that'll be a super boring game to play, especially if your whole purpose is just to keep him breathing. So you just have to sit there, pressing X rhythmically. It's almost like Metronome Simulator, going back to my music idea, where you would just press one button continuously, and just to see how long you could sustain that. So it'd be a rhythm game, but it'd be quite a boring rhythm game with keeping someone breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then occasionally maybe you get a splutter. And then you gotta like press like circle randomly, you know, circle, circle, circle X, otherwise dead. Yeah, that's the game. It definitely shouldn't exist. Listeners, if you got any games that you think definitely shouldn't exist, write into the email pswetrust@gmail.com, reach out to us on the socials, let us know.